If you really want to know what's going on with your grass, step away from the fertilizer and get this. It's going to tell you everything you need to know about how to have a beautiful green lawn. This is super interesting to me because you can see things on this soil sample that you cannot see with your eye. The things that you can see with your eye are assumptions. These are facts. So looking at a yard and seeing it yellowing or whatnot, it can tell you some things, but it can't tell you specifically that you need 69 pounds of lime. It can't tell you that you need 3 pounds of superphosphate. Those are all things that are not able to be seen. So if you walk to a property and somebody says, oh, well, that just needs fertilizer. Well, it might, but it also might need lime and phosphorus also. Or it says, oh, well, you know, it just might need some lime. Well, yeah, it may need that, but it also may need other things. So it takes the guesswork out of the grass work. The soil sample starts at the top, and it's going to talk about our soil pH. It's going to give us examples of what is our current soil pH and a buffer pH. That's where we want to end up with. So starting at 5.2 is really low, and it's telling us already that the soil is acidic. It is not able to absorb all the nutrition that we're giving it. In a nutshell, wasting some of your investment. So no matter how much fertilizer we put on, it's not going to receive 100% of that fertilizer. We're going to go down to the line items about phosphorus, potassium, calcium, and magnesium. As you can see, they're highlighted in a darker color. Those are very important pieces of the soil composition. And then we're going to get down to our CEC exchange, and then we're going to look down at our recommendations. So our recommendations to get that soil pH up is limestone. Limestone is going to take an acidic soil and make it more alkaline so it can start absorbing more nutrition and so that the plant can receive what we're trying to give it. Not just a portion of it, but the entire amount. This recommendation is for lime at 69 pounds of lime for every 1,000 square feet. And that's a lot. When you're putting that much lime down, you cannot do that all at once. It'll put so much lime on your lawn, it'll look like a parking lot when it's done. So what we need to do is break that up into a couple applications, and it'll take 3 to 6 months to start working its way in to start seeing that number change. So really starting that now in the winter months is a great time to start working on your soil so that in the spring and summer, when we're starting to give it a ton of nutrition, it's going to really start absorbing that nutrition. If you look down the comments, it's going to say some pretty generic comments, and these are pretty important to read, but also understand that these are pretty large blanketed comments. But when it talks about adding 3 pounds of triple phosphate, that's going to help with root development and root growth. So when you have a strong phosphorus level, it's going to absorb all the material that we're putting in right to the root zone of the plant. And that's going to be what gives it new growth and topside growth. So that's really important. It recommends in this soil sample 3 pounds of superphosphate and 6 pounds of 15-0-15 or equivalent fertilizer. And then same over in July. And it's important to understand that these are pretty generic. The way that we do our blends is step up from that. We typically blend our own for this region. They're going to be a little bit more powerful than what you'd be able to get kind of on a base level there. Referencing back to the CEC rate, the 5 on the CEC rate is pretty low. So when I see that, we're going to need to add some fertility to this yard, maybe 1 or 2 additional applications this first season. But once you get it up, it kind of stays there. So what we want to do is work on getting our soil pH up, our fertility levels up, and our phosphorus levels up. And those 3 key components for this particular soil sample will make a night and day difference. You're gonna see a huge difference in the color, in the health, and it's gonna start absorbing everything that we're putting on the property. The downside is when you have these large components of pH, phosphorus, and fertility off, when you do start putting a normal fertilizer on it, you're only gonna be receiving about 20% of what we're putting down. And so you're not getting the full bang for your buck. So by adding these other components and raising up your levels to the sufficient range, or it's not even bad to be a little high there, you're gonna start seeing the fertilizer work better, more efficiently. You're gonna see a application happen and then it green up immediately. And it's so important for us to have these. And that's why we do them every year. We can see how the customer's property changes. We can see how the soil changes. We can see how the grass starts changing year over year. But one thing to note is that this doesn't happen fast. Unfortunately, we live in a world where we want things to happen immediately. This can happen over time. And that's why we continually do the soil samples year after year after year. Hey, if you need help with your lawn and want to get a soil sample, just give my team a call and I'll make sure we get somebody out to your house as quickly as possible. This tech will know exactly what to do and how to help you reach your goals.